Welcome to Motivational Monday. This week we're going to be talking about choices and the freedom of choice with regards to just prioritizing your life and making sure that your everything that you do is aligned with what your goals in life are. And I think it's important to make the right choices, but also to recognize the freedom of choice with regards to work, with regards to friendships and love and even how you spend your time, and just understanding the decisions you're making when you're making those types of choices. So, with regards to friendships, I think a lot of times we tend to hold on to certain people in our lives just out of obligation almost. And I've had to realize that everyone that I thought, or at one point in time, was a very close friend, isn't supposed to be a lifelong friend, and that's okay. And there are people who are supposed to be there for quite some time, but also understanding that I force you to play an active role in my life, but I don't have to hate you for it. I can love you from a distance and I can love who you are and respect who you are without having to feel any kind of angst or animosity about the fact that we're not as close as we once were. I think having the biggest choices with regards to love. And I think when you have that type of freedom of choice, you can choose to be with whoever you want. And you obviously hope they make the same choice in your favor, but also understanding that when you make that choice, what are you sacrificing? Is it the best choice for you? And I think you have to determine who's right for you before you start to entertain the options. And what I mean by that is coming up with character you're looking for and then characteristics you're looking to avoid. And having that non negotiable list is key to being a filter, because when you meet somebody new and they're saying all the right things and doing all the right things, you start to feel like, okay, this could be it. But when you're in the make that unbiased decision about what you are and are not willing to accept. And then if that person doesn't measure up, you just let it go. And it is important to, even when you're in a relationship, to continue to choose that person. And I remember hearing Will and Jada talk about their marriage and how, it was always presumed that they had an open marriage. And years go by, and Jada finally came out and said, no, we don't have an open marriage. But he's a grown man, and he can quite literally do what he wants, basically. But every day they wake up and choose each other. So they have the freedom of choice, but they continuously choose each other. And I think that's key. So not putting these mandates on what you can and cannot do, because recognizing that they're a full grown adult, but also recognizing that this is the person that I choose to be with each and every day. Work, I think you can create the freedom of choice in work with regards to making sure that you have the training necessary, making sure that you have the education for the career field that you're interested in, if you need to get licensed or whatever it takes. But once you make a decision on what you want, you have to go for it. And you have to go for it without reservation and without the fear of what if, or the fear of not understanding what could happen, and just go for it. I firmly believe that you should run forward in the direction of your fears, and understanding that just because you're afraid to do something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. In fact, it's probably the exact thing that you should do. One of the most freeing choices that I've learned to make is how I choose to spend my time. And with that, so I work a full-time job. I work anywhere between 50 to 65 hours a week. Not getting paid overtime, by the way. Just working just because. On top of that, I have an hour commute every day, back and forth. So and then you add in 8 hours of sleep, because sleep's very important to me. So when you subtract 65-hour work week, 12 hours of commute, because I'm working 6 days a week sometimes, and then 8 hours of sleep every day, that leaves me with 35 hours for the whole week. That's 35 hours to spend with friends, to spend with family, to spend on focusing on my career, focusing on my passion. So when you really look at it like, okay, I quite literally have 35 hours to do any and everything that has nothing to do with work or sleep. You start to be very selective with how you spend your time. And you start to be very selective with how much time you're willing to give any particular task or any particular person. And so when I'm making those decisions of how I'm choosing to spend my time, I have to factor in what's in it for me. I also have to factor in, does it benefit my core values and my goals? So if it doesn't make me happy, benefit my future career, or pay my bill, I mean, I really have to evaluate A, if I have the ability to dedicate that time, and B, is it worth it? And how much time am I really willing to sacrifice? So when I to make these decisions, so that gives me a good, on average, 5 hours a day. And I have 1 to 2 days off during the week. So some days are more on the day off side or not. But I really have to evaluate what you want me to do, how long it's going to take you to want me to do it, how far are you expecting me to drive? Because in the DMV, you're driving a good hour just to get anywhere. So making those decisions to really to how does it benefit me, and also factoring in, if it's a close friend, and then maybe that time makes sense, but I can't hang out with you every day. I can't spend hours and hours on the phone with you every day, because I have things that I have to do too, and I have to put my needs first, and I have to put my energy levels first. I have to put my priorities above everybody else, because that's what's necessary to get the job done. And if I'm dating somebody, I can't spend my entire day booed up with them, because I got things I got to do. And the person, they'll respect that. And just understanding that I can't spend my everyday with you, friend, family, relationship, whatever, because I have bigger goals in place. So I really hope you guys start to make more conscious choices in your life, and understanding um, the cost of your energy, the cost of your time, and the cost of your motivation. Don't sacrifice your motivation for the benefit of somebody else. Thanks.